friends. Check it out. It's here. It came yesterday. Yeah, look at that. I have to say I'm pretty impressed so far. This guy is a mom and pop out in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I looked at some commercial units that I just didn't look like. They didn't look, for what I'm getting with this and what I spent, I wouldn't be getting what I'm getting. This guy offers a lifetime warranty with this duplicator. I've got instructions. I've got parts that are, what is that? That's 1/8" steel. The welds look really decent. Everything is consistent. This guy has to have been an engineer at some point, I'm guessing. I've got the yoke for the router. The part that turns the workpiece in the pattern. I think this goes to the inside. These are the clamps that hold your workpiece. These are the posts that a motor is going to attach. Well, I think just one, but I've got a motor coming. It should be here today that has a foot control that will turn these. So all I have to do is worry about running the router. The router should be here today. But everything looks very substantial. Looks well thought out. I've got instructions. Hopefully I've got my thinking cap on today. And I'll be back when we have some progress. I am so stoked. It's a new journey. I'm up for it. Ready for the task. Bring it on. Talk to you in a bit. Hey friends. Well, it's together. It took about 45 minutes and the directions were very clear. You just have to be able to read and put things together. The tolerances were tight. I was really pleased with that, especially with the guide rails going through the towers, and we'll go through the terminology of what stuff is. But it went together really nice. It's intuitive, and it's, you can tell it's thought out. It's a thought out thing. Does it look like it came from a factory with CNCs and all that stuff? No, not really. But I wasn't really expecting that. A little light on the paint, but it's a piece of machinery. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. Where it counts is center lines, tolerances, right parts, enough parts. It's all there. It's all there. So I'm really, it's gonna be good. I was worried about the learning curve, but now that I have it together, I'm not really worried about that. I mean, obviously, it is going to take some doing, but I think this thing is pretty rocking. I've got a laser that shoots a vertical and horizontal beam even at the same time, so I can really get this dialed in very close and get things, get things right where they need to be. Because right now, as it stands, without mounting it to a piece of plywood, it's just together, everything is kind of independent and you can't have any movement with the various bases of the various components that are, that make it the duplicator. But let me take you on a quick tour of it. It's really cool. Like I said, well made. 1/8" mild steel. The welds are pretty good. Everything is right where it needs to be. You have a tailstock. This is the tailstock, which holds one of the ends. I guess you would call the dummy end. It'll just rotate And then this is the business end, the headstock. This rotates. It's very tight, no loosey-goosey. You don't want really any movement. You don't want any movement where you don't want it is a good way to do. These lock in the cams into position. Motor's going to get attached to one of these posts. There's a chain in here that synchronizes the two cylinders or axles in there. And this will be hooked into a slow RPM motor that will turn those with a foot control. These towers, just square tube steel, but the holes are right on. Zero movement up and down, side to side in the holes. Everything this guy handmade, all of this stuff, even his stops. I mean, they're great. I mean, he tapped that hole and he, beveled those 90 degrees on a sander. I mean, it went together fine. That's not the router that's going in it. That's just for show. But it has got me thinking already. It came with, I ordered the extension. This rod here can replace this rod here and widen the whole works for, say, like guitar bodies. Oh yes, indeed, I intend doing a few guitar bodies and necks. That's what I like about this setup, is that it's a multifunctional type of thing, whereas getting an axe lathe, it's an axe lathe and it's enormous. And I have such a small shop that I still have to be, I'm not going to be, in the beginning, I'm not going to be doing axe handles 100% of the time. So I'll have axe handle runs, and then I'm going to, if I get a cabinet order or something like that, I will have to switch gears and reconfigure the shop so that I can run cabinets. But it's really, really cool. These guide bars, this moves like this. And then this moves like this. So the whole concept is, well, this is going to be balanced. It's pretty well balanced. Let's see if it comes back up. No, not really. So, but you have this counterweight that allows you to get the right amount of balance. These are self-sealing bearings, inserts that go into this tubing that clean the sawdust off of these rails. Oops. So the whole idea is to, rotate a little bit, run your router, and rotate and just take it down. You'll run this way, and then you might move it over a little bit and run it this way. And granted, that is part of the learning curve, even on CNCs and stuff. The direction of the cut with the bit, you go one way and you'll have a lot of blowout on something, and if you come back the other way, everything's okay. So, order of operations is going to be key. I'm not as worried about depth, and this is a machine that I can dial in. I'm pretty confident that I can get it dialed in. The subtleties of it, it's just going to take time. But after taking this machine from a rusted old heap to, within a few thousandths of an inch of cutting, I got, what else do I have to do? Yard work, remodeling at home, and axes. That's where we're headed. So, but I'm really excited about this. I started thinking about this extension bar, and I also started thinking about another yoke assembly. So if I potentially could get 2 handles out of this. With this being wide enough, because I'm not going to need much travel on this axis. Most of the travel is going to be this way. Let's look at the business end of this real quick. You just have your probe. You have different size probes. He included some starter router bits and stuff. I probably will end up buying a live center, which is basically a live center, or a dead center. I don't remember what the terminology is, but it basically looks like a countersink, but it comes down to a fine point, and you could use a countersink, I suppose. But I can put this in here and this in here, and then I'll have a very accurate indication of, sorry, this is going up. I'll be able to, I'll be able to adjust this axis and I will be able to find my center line on each piece and align this. This comes out, so we'll just have to see. Hopefully, I mean, this is not, I don't know, and the laser will help get me oriented on how, because these guys need to be the same along this axis, if that makes sense with me moving the camera. If they're out of whack, they're not going to be as accurate. It doesn't look like that's as square as it should be, but certainly all of this is within stuff that's in my wheelhouse. I had to make, I don't know if you can see it in this guy, but I actually had to make a part for this guy out of some steel. This bracket in here, I made out of 3/4 inch steel, basically with a abrasive wheel by eye and a drill press. I was able to drill this through, and I had to tap this screw hole in here, but it holds this splitter. And so, I think we're not even at that point where, these old machines, what do you do with the, a 5 horsepower 3-phase table saw from the 50s, if you need a part. For this particular saw, they don't really exist. I mean, they do, but if you want to buy another saw for parts, otherwise you got to make it. And I don't think we're here with this. I think we're, this might need a little tweaking, maybe even some enlarging of the hole, and have more set screws to be able to kick this guy however it needs to go. But it's precise where it needs to be precise, and that's really great. I don't know. I think the let's measure this. I believe I'm stuck with 35 inches, so my long handles will be 35 inches. Unless they're hand done. So anyway, that's it. I've got a brand new Bosch router coming that he specifies as the model number for this. I think he said that this particular router would work, but all of my routers, I got a whole army of those Porter cables. I got 1, 2, 3 of these Porter cable routers that are old. If you've been in woodworking for any length of time, you know that these are old school. And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with them, but I think I just want to start out with a fresh scenario. So then we'll get down to dust control and all of the fun. Whoops, sorry about that. All the fun of dust control, and once we know what we're doing with this thing, actually being able to produce in the goals that I have set, the time goals that I have set that I think I need to hit to be efficient and profitable in this world of handles. So that's pretty much it. Made in America, made by a guy with two hands and an idea, who I know he's researched the heck out of it. So anyway, Pilk Polk. Shout out to Pilk. I can't tell you how good it is to have you back. I know you've been back for a little while. My last video, I was giving some shout outs and then felt terrible. Somehow I missed giving you a shout out. You're an amazing energy to this community. You're just such a positive influence on people, and you're always pushing the ball forward. So thank you so much. Thank you for helping and pushing the spirit fires. I'm glad your place is back to normal. I don't know if it's back to normal, but at least you have some green grass and it's all cleaned up, and you're back there running saws and swinging axes and cutting tomatoes and onions with axes, apparently. I love it. So anyway, new subscribers, we're at 130. I'm loving it. Everybody, I love you all. We're rocking in Casterville. I'll talk to you soon.